Can a TRX really replace a gym? Today I'm scoring 7 TRX exercises based on how well they replace popular gym exercises. And a couple of them earned a perfect 10 out of 10. Whether you're working out at home, while traveling, or just don't have access to a gym, these are the TRX exercises that I would recommend. Let's start with one of the best replacements for the bench press. So the bench press is probably one of the best exercises for the chest, shoulders, and triceps. This one's gonna be really hard to replace with the TRX strap. But this is what a bench press looks like. Now let me show you the exercise that could replace that. So the exercise that could replace the bench press would be a TRX chest press, which looks like this. You're gonna be here, you're gonna come down with a nice straight body and push away. It's kind of like a push-up, but there's more need for stabilization with this one. Now if I had to say based 1 out of 10 on how well this replaces the bench press, honestly, because the bench press is probably one of my favorite exercises, that or the dumbbell press, I would honestly say like a 6 out of 10 because the bench press you're able to progressively overload. This one's great because you get a little bit of core activation, shoulder, chest, and everything just like the bench press, but it's definitely not my favorite to replace the bench press. But some of these later exercises are going to replace the exercise that you normally do in the gym way better than this would with the bench press. Let's move on. Now the next popular gym exercise I'm trying to replace with the TRX strap is a cable seated row. So what a cable seated row looks like is this. You're going to be here, chest up, shoulders back, and you're pulling the cable towards your mid-stomach, right below the sternum, just like this. Really working the back there. This one's really good for posture, especially if you're sitting at a desk all day, to kind of get your chest up, shoulders down and back. Now let me show you the TRX equivalent. All right, so the TRX equivalent would be a TRX row, where you're flat like this, chest up, shoulders back, pulling up like this, engaging between the shoulder blades, just like you would for the cable row. Just like this. I really like this one, honestly. So for the rating on this one, I mean, it's gonna be really hard to get a 10 out of 10, but I'm gonna give this one a 10 out of 10, honestly. Like, there's a bunch of other ways you can work the back really well, but even though I do tons of back exercises with dumbbells and cables, I still always come back to this one to really get that activation in my back. So I'm gonna give this one a perfect 10 out of 10. On to the next exercise. All right, the third exercise we're aiming to replace is the leg press. So a leg press is gonna look like this. You're gonna have your legs up here. There's a lot of different variations of what leg presses look like. I really like this one versus like the sled one. Regardless of that, the leg press is really good to work the quads, hamstrings, and glutes. So let's see what the TRX equivalent would look like. The TRX equivalent of a leg press would be a TRX squat. So what you're gonna do is lead with the hips back and use the TRX straps to slightly pull yourself back up, but it's really good for people with knee issues and back issues because you can really lead in the hips and you don't have to worry about having knees over toes, which is a real thing that can cause knee problems for a lot of people. So just like this. Now, honestly, this is another probably 5 or 6 out of 10 because one, you can't progressively overload it really easily or like at all. The other thing is, I feel like the squat and the leg press regardless are two different things. So it's not a really good match. So I'm actually gonna say like a 5 out of 10, but for people with knee and back issues, the leg press and normal squats can be really tough. So if you do have knee or back problems, this would be a 10 out of 10 for you. But for my, little ranking right now, I'm gonna just say 5 out of 10. On to the next one. If you wanna get in shape at home, I just put out my TRX Total Body Blueprint. I linked it below. It's a 12-week program to help you get in the best shape of your life at home. Back to the video. So the next exercise I'm trying to replace with the TRX strap would be the cable face pull. So what those look like is this. Chest up, pulling this towards your face. Hands kind of go up by your ears. This is for like the rear delts and the rhomboids, a little bit of the upper back. So where the rows get a little bit mid-lower traps here, these will get higher up on the rear delts. These are really important. Let me show the TRX replacement. All right, so the replacement for the cable face pulls looks like this. So you're gonna be here, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull the TRX apart like this, bring the hands right up towards the ears just like you would do for the face pull that we were doing on the cable. And if you wanna make it a little easier, you can have one foot back like this to slightly push your weight up just like this. But if you don't want to do that, I would just do it straight body like this. So in terms of replacement, they're both really good. So honestly, this is another one I would give a 10 out of 10. I really like the back movements with the TRX strap because you can really load those up really nice because sometimes with the cable one, when you're leaning back, you're almost using your body weight to kind of force the cable open where you're not really using, your rear delts and stuff. This one, it feels like you're concentrated on your rear delts really well, the way they're supposed to be, where the cable one, I don't get the same type of activation. So this one's a perfect 10 out of 10 as well. On to the next one. All right, the next one we're trying to replace is bicep curls. Now, I love bicep curls, probably one of my favorite exercises as well next to the bench press. It's for the, biceps. This one you want to keep your chest up, shoulders back just like this. So yeah, this one's really good for building the biceps. Let's see if there's a really good equivalent on the TRX. All right, to replace bicep curls with dumbbells, you're going to do a TRX bicep curl, which looks like this. You're going to have your hands up. You're going to bring your hands up towards your forehead, keeping those elbows nice and high. So you don't want to have them come down like this. Again, really nice and high like this. Just like this. And the same thing as with the face pull, you can put one foot back if you need to kind of distribute your weight differently and help yourself out like this. Ah, man, this one's a tough one. I really like those. But the thing is, if we're talking perfect replacement, I'm just going to say they're a 9 out of 10 because they're just different. Meaning, like, I would do both. I wouldn't just do bicep curls. I would also use these. And if I could only do these at home or while traveling, I'd be okay with it because it gives like a different activation. The reason why it's not a 10 out of 10 is because these can be kind of tough to do if you're a beginner, but I do really like the activation in those. And like to replace / use instead of, it's just another exercise for your toolbox. On to the next one. All right, this next exercise is really good for the triceps. You're gonna be like this, shoulders down, hips slightly back, extending and opening up the ropes just like this. I really like this exercise. It's helped me build really big triceps. Let me show the equivalent on a TRX and let's rate how good it is. To replace TRX pushdowns with a cable, this is what I would do. So you wanna go down like this. You're gonna keep the elbows nice and high, kind of like the opposite of the bicep curl thing, because you don't want them down here. You kind of want them up by your forehead and you're gonna push away just like this. And this one's gonna really hit your triceps. I really like this one. Now, in terms of replacing the cable pushdown, again, it's funny because it's another one of those ones where it's like, it's a 10 out of 10 because it's a really good exercise regardless of if it replaces this one. But I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, just like the bicep curls, because it's not a perfect replacement, but it's also another one you can add to the toolbox that like I would do anyways on top of the cable triceps. But the thing is, if you can only use a TRX at home or while traveling and you don't have gym access, this is just different. It's not like it's better or worse necessarily. And if you get really good at these, you're gonna gain a lot of strength and size in your triceps anyways. The only thing is why it wouldn't be a 10 out of 10 is because, again, kind of like the bicep curls, it can be hard to get better at those if you don't have the strength needed, but you can stand up higher and make the angle less and make it easier. So again, 9 out of 10. All right, moving on to the final exercise. All right, the last exercise we're aiming to replace is the hamstring curl, which looks like this. Now this one's really good on hitting the back of your legs. This is almost like the bicep of your legs, where the quads are the triceps. Now I'm gonna show you the replacement on the TRX. This one takes a little bit to get into, but it's a great replacement. Let me show you. All right, to replace the seated hamstring curl, what you're gonna do is put your heels in the TRX just like this. You're gonna scoot back, you're gonna lift up, squeeze your glutes, you're gonna bring your heels in and back out just like this. One thing is you don't want to let the hips hit the ground or like droop too much. You really want those glutes activated. And you're going to hit the hamstrings just like this. Now that's a real tough one. And now in terms of replacing it, it's another one of those things where it's like, it's an 8 or 9. Well, I got to be decisive on this one. You know, I'm going to say that's a 10 out of 10. You know why? Because if you can do that one, I would say it gives me much more activation than the seated hamstring curl over there. So it's like, I only do the seated hamstring curl because of convenience. This one can be a pain to get into, but if you're willing to get into it, I think it's a 10 out of 10. And one of the best parts is you can do it at home or while traveling. It's like you don't even need a gym for that one. So that's the final exercise, another 10 out of 10. All right, just because I don't remember off the top of my head all my rankings, they're gonna be on a list right here somehow on the screen, and you can look at it now. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment what you want me to cover next. Peace.